So a few people have asked me what my favorite R188 caps are, and just wanted to run through those really quickly. First off, before we get into favorites, let's just point out that there's essentially two different types of R188 bearing caps. On this side, this is the C3. You can see that the bearing, the R188 bearing, is recessed from the body of the spinner. So it's a millimeter or two down on both sides because of this lock ring. That means you need a taller spinner. You should be in between the two buttons. There's, a few extra millimeters, and as if there didn't need the spacing for that ring. On something like the Torqbar or the Rotoblade, the body of the spinner is essentially the same height as that of the bearing, which means you could use a lower profile set of buttons. And here are those two compared. And that carries forward with something like even a larger button, like these from the Zerofeud. You still have a lot less height between the two buttons. So essentially what that means is that these taller buttons will work on the shorter spinners, but the shorter buttons will not work on the taller spinners. So just worth differentiating between those two was not all R188 buttons will work on all R188 spinners, if that makes sense. So as for my favorites, my favorite on the tall side is this right here. This is the set of buttons from this, which is usually called the Fidgeteer or the Bar. Has a lot of different names. But essentially these are just a really nice set of black powder coated, or they have a feel like they are powder coated. I don't know what the actual coating is. And I believe they're brass R188 buttons. And they're just built really nicely. They sound great. They actually make the spinner I use them with quieter. I don't know if that's from the kind of a dampening effect of the material, or if they just have better tolerances than some other buttons, but I like these ones a whole lot. So if you have a fidgeteer or whatever that you want to call this, then you have these already. If not, it's definitely worth picking up this spinner, which you can get at this one for under $15, and you get a great set of buttons with that. As for the shorter side, these are typically the more expensive spinners, like the Torqbar and the Rotoblade and some others. So the buttons are a little bit fancier generally. And my favorite here come from Zerofeud. These guys just have really top-notch build quality, but their parts tend to be extremely hard to get a hold of and rather expensive. I bought these tumbled stainless steel upgrade buttons, and they're just really nicely made. They have a nice width, so they're comfortable to hold. I think they're a little bit big for the Torqbar, so they work, just like, aesthetically, they look a little bit unbalanced on the rather small spinner. But just really nice looking, and they let the Torqbar do a desk spin, which is nice. They were, I think, about $20, so definitely not cheap, but the build quality is fantastic. This is from Rotoblade, and these are really nice. I just don't love them as much, and they have no step between these two, the outer ring and the inner ring, and just don't look as nice as the other ones. And here we have just the stock Torqbar buttons, and these are cool. They're super low profile, but they're just kind of small to hold for any length of time. So yeah, my favorite R188 buttons come from the Fidgeteer and from Zerofeud. Thanks for watching.